Hello everyone, this is Shannon from Craft Ghetto. In today's video, I'm going to share with you a Christmas card design that's really great for mass production and uses some awesome new products from Waffle Flower's July release. These are the products I'll be using today. First up is the Oversized Merry Combo. Comes with the stamp set in the front as well as a large Merry word die in the back. I'll also be using the Vertical Stripes Panel Die. This is a great die that takes an A2 panel and breaks it up into 6 wonderful stripes. The colored cardstock I'm using today is from this Recollections pad called Pastel's Dreams. I just got it at Michael's. Some beautiful colors in this pad. The only downside is this cardstock is not that great for stamping. I can only get stays on and heat embossing to really work with it. I trimmed 6 colors down to A2 panels, and I'm now going to run them through with the Vertical Stripes die to create stripes out of these A2 panels. So I just lined up the panel with the die, used some micro pour tape to hold it in place, and then ran it through my die cutting machine. And as you can see, I got 6 perfectly cut stripes. I'm going to repeat this process for my 5 remaining cardstocks. So when I'm all done, I'll have 6 stripes from 6 different colors, which will allow me to make 6 cards. Now that all my stripes are done, I'm now going to adhere them onto some A2 panels. These are actually a little bit smaller than A2 panels. They're about 1/16 of an inch smaller on both the vertical and horizontal sides of the panel. This just helps to make sure that when I glue these stripes down, you don't see any white at all because the stripes are a little bit bigger than the panels. I'm just using liquid glue to glue this down. I like liquid glue for this because it gives me a little bit of wiggle room to make sure it's nice and straight. And I am using the edge of the water media mat here to help make sure I get it aligned. So you can see me using it right now to make sure the bottom is nice and straight and flush with the bottom of the panel. And I'm repeating this process for all of the colors. It goes really fast, and I'll finish up here with purple. And that completes one panel. I'll now move on to another panel and repeat this process till I have 6 rainbow striped panels. And here's the panels all done. I love this pastel palette. For my first 6, I actually used a bolder grouping of colors, and I like that as well too. I kind of feel like you can't go wrong with stripes. I'm now going to move on to my sentiment. I'm going to die cut this Oversized Merry Die out of some white cardstock, and I'm going to repeat that, of course, 6 times so I have 6 die cut Marys. I'm also going to use that Oversized Merry and die cut it out of some white craft foam. Again, I'll repeat it 6 times so I have 6 craft foam Marys. This is going to add some dimension to my sentiment, and it is definitely an extra step, and you can skip it if you don't want to have that dimension on for your mass-produced cards, because it does kind of slow the production down. I left the craft foam Merry inside the negative space. That makes it a lot easier to glue the cardstock Merry right on top. I just used some liquid glue, put it on the back side, and stuck it down. Makes alignment really easy. Once this is dry, I will pop that Merry out. So now that I've allowed that Merry to dry completely, I can easily pop everything out. And you can see I like to start with the kind of the negatives inside the E and the R and the Y, those kind of smaller little ones first. And then I kind of pull out the whole word, and it just comes out neatly. And I found that this is really the best way to adhere your cardstock die cuts to your craft foam die cuts. Kind of leaving that craft foam die cut inside its negative, and then adhere the cardstock on top. I'm now moving on to my background with my stamps. So these snowflakes are from that Oversized Merry Stamp Set. They're really beautiful, and I'm arranging them here using that Merry die cut and my rainbow panel kind of as a guide. I also pulled off the rest of my sentiment from that Oversized Merry Stamp Set. It's going to say Merry and Bright. And I'm going to do some heat embossing, so I put down some anti-static powder, and I'm now going to ink up these stamps with Versamark ink, and then I will stamp this. As you can see, I'm using my Misty to stamp my stamps today. Misty is a great tool for mass production because once I've stamped this, I don't have to rearrange these stamps to stamp my next panel or even clean them. I can just pop my next panel in and stamp it. It's really handy for mass production. So I just poured on my white embossing powder, and now I'm going to heat set this with my heat gun. I did want to remind you that this Recollections paper from that Pastel's Dreams pad does not stamp that great. I was able to get a really good impression with Versamark ink, and therefore a good some good impressions with heat embossing. And StazOn also worked, but I tried some other inks, like some dye inks, and it just did not like ever dry. So that's an important thing that I want you guys to know if you are ever thinking about buying those Recollections pads of colored cardstock. Just be mindful that they may not stamp very well. So now that I've had all my stamping done on my panels, I'm now just going to glue them onto their card base, and then I will just quickly finish these cards up by adhering my Dimensional Mary. Again, with some liquid glue. I just find that this just works really well for me, and then I'll just pop it down and just that finishes it up. And I'll hold the finished card at the camera so you can get a good look at all the details. I love these snowflakes from the Oversized Merry Stamp Set. They're so beautiful. I love the kind of really geometric kind of look to them. I also really think the Scripty Mary and that very linear and bright is a great combo. I love it so much. And I think this stamp set works really well with the vertical stripes die from Waffle Flower's July release as well. I had fun with rainbow colors, as you can see here. The first grouping was with kind of pastel, and now this one I'm showing you here, my second grouping of 6, is bolder rainbow. But I love both, think they're very pretty. But I think the one real great thing about this card design is that you don't have to do rainbow colors if you don't like. You could choose whatever colors you like. I think a background of just different hues of blue would be really pretty, or even greens and reds would be really pretty, a Christmas card design as well. I hope you guys enjoyed today's card and video. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.